Alright, welcome back to my channel. We're going to be doing a Radiohead tier list of what I think is their worst album to what is their best. So we're going to start out at the worst and then we're going to work our way up. So let's just jump straight into it. It would be no surprise if I said The King of Limbs is arguably or undoubtedly their worst album. I think there's nothing in this album that kind of wants you to come back and re-listen to it. There wasn't anything original. There wasn't anything groundbreaking. It's just kind of the same stuff that they were doing, but really, really watered down. With that being said, I still think that Lotus Flower and Codex are really good songs on this album. And I mean, I'll give Separator its credit, but besides this album is just a complete stinker. So that was at number 9. Now at number 8, we have Pablo Honey. Real complaint about this is just kind of how it just sounds really generic to what was coming out around that time. I know some people might disagree. Some people might agree with me, but I mean, besides, you know, just standout tracks like You and Creep, and Anyone Can Play Guitar, this album really lacks a lot of just what could have been a good album. It was just a lot of generic stuff for what was coming out around that era, and for that reason, I just rank it this low. And then at number 7, we have Radiohead's The Bends, which again, I know I might get a little hate on this one because I know this one's loved by the community, but I don't know, I really didn't like it. It doesn't do anything for me overall. I think Fake Plastic Trees is really good, even though it plays like a million times on my job, so I'm kind of tired of it. High and Dry is still really good. Just and My Iron Lung are also one of my core favorites off this album, but I mean, again, it's not horrible. It's just not for me. And then at 6, we have Radiohead's Hail to the Thief. Now, originally, this was going to be at number 5 to kick off my top 5. But after listening to what I put at number 5 more and more, this just went down to 6. I truly love this album, though. Although it's a little low in my ranking, I truly love this. My true complaint with this is that it's an album that is heavy on the political statements, although it feels like it lacks direction. You have an opener like 2 + 2 = 5, which is undoubtedly Radiohead's best opener to any album, and then you follow it up with the song that just kind of feels like you lost all that momentum. And while there is songs on this album that I think are Radiohead's top 25 songs. You have Misomotosis, I think is how you pronounce it. I mean, the bass on that song, it just pumps straight into it. You go straight into action. I think is a really good song. A really good song. Really fun. I mean, the chorus, when it breaks down, it's just the drums, and then you got Tom York singing, and then go at the end of the chorus, and then the bass just comes in, all the other instruments just start punching you again. It is an amazing song. I think A Wolf at the Doors is the song, or something, Wolf and Something at the Door is such a good closer. It just kind of sounds like he has been defeated, and it is just his last messages. Again, a really good album. This album is really good. My true complaint with it, though, now let me get to my complaints, is that this album just kind of feels like a compilation of songs that they said, this sounds really good, let's throw it into it, and then just push our statements with it. And that's truly my big complaint with this album, is I think it lacks direction. And I mean, you listen to the songs all in order, and it just feels like you're not really getting a story nor a narrative. And I mean, with the other albums I eventually have coming, you have songs like In Rainbows, where in Rainbows, every song kind of felt like it was in there for a reason. It all fit the aesthetic, or just kind of what they were going for. You have songs on A Moonshaped Pool, which again kind of fit the same aesthetic, kind of fit the same narrative. But on this album, you don't really get that. And it's such a bummer, because I do think that there's a lot of highlights on this album, but when it's low, it's low. And that's also another complaint. When the album is high, it will have you in a high craze, but when it's low and it's not really that interesting, you kind of just get bored of it. But for that reason, it's at my number 6. Now to kick off top 5, we have Amnesiac by Radiohead, which I know a lot of people kind of don't agree, because they just feel like this is Kid A Part 2 and it's a watered down Kid A, but I highly disagree. I think there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of good songs on this album. I mean, you have Packed Like a Sardines and a Crushed Tin Box, which is a good opener. I wouldn't say it's like their best opener or just the best opener, but I mean, you have songs like Pyramid. Pyramid song is such an amazing song. You have You and Whose Army, Knives Out, which, I mean, Knives Out as a whole is just a standout track in Radiohead's discography. The only song that I truly don't really like on this would be Morning Bell slash Amasiac. I just didn't like it. I think, I mean, the original Morning Bell never did anything for me. I always hated that song. I kind of always skipped on it. I just never really saw what they saw. Um, but you still have songs like Dollar and Cents, which is a really good song. Hunting Bears, which is an amazing song. Life in a Glass House, which is really good to end this album on. But you have all these songs. You have a weird song like Polk slash Pool Revolving Doors, which kind of sounds like, I mean, if you were to compare it to Kid A, it sounds like Idioteca, just kind of in a different direction. But yeah, Amnesiac is an amazing album. I wouldn't say my only, because I have a couple. But my big problem with this album is just the same with Hell to a Thief. It just feels like a collection of songs and there isn't that much narrative to it. I mean, it's fun if you just want to listen to Radiohead songs, but when you kind of want to listen to a Radiohead album and feel that experience that you get with majority of their albums, it kind of lacks. It lacks a lot. It lacks a lot of direction. I will say it fits way much better within the aesthetic and kind of what they want to do. Something that was it Hell to the Thief couldn't really stick to. But yeah, Amasiac, our number 5. Now at number 4, we have Radiohead's A Moon-Shaped Pool, which I was gonna rank higher, but after listening to the other albums, I just can't do it. But even then, at number 4, this album is amazing. I think it's Radiohead's just most bluish, beautiful album that they could put out next to In Rainbows. I mean, you have songs on this album that just kind of bring you down to earth, bring you down to just kind of plane where you're just kind of there. And I think that's the best way that I can explain this album. I mean, you have songs like Burn the Witch that when you first start playing, I believe there's an orchestra on there and they have a lot of strings and all that. And I mean, it sounds beautiful. And, you know, the ending of it is just kind of really Kid A like, Amnesiac era, those kind of noises. And then you go into Daydreaming. And it's like they flipped the switch. You know what I mean? It's like you were walking and you were cruising and whatever, and then it started raining. That's the best way I can start explaining that. Yeah, Burn the Witch, which kind of feels hopeful. It kind of feels like, you know, you just woke up and the sun is out. The sun is shining. You know, it's warm, but not too warm. And then you have Daydreaming. And Daydreaming just sounds like you crash into a wall. You're not really there. And you're just kind of in limbo. And that's not a negative to the song, I wouldn't say. Daydreaming is an amazing song. And then you have songs like Full Stop, which is, again, an amazing song. Desert Island Disc is also another good song. I listen to this vinyl a lot, so I kind of go by off just vinyl, not vinyl experience, record experience. And then you have just the best 3-track that is on the album. You have Glass Eyes, which starts off with a really, I wouldn't say dark piano, but just kind of really spacey. And it's just the piano and Tom York's voice. And it carries that momentum through the entire song. Even though you think it might change, it might go louder, it might go quieter, it changed, and nothing changes. And then you have Idiot Tech. Yeah, what was that? I can't pronounce words today. Edie Tech Kit. There you go. And again, another amazing song. It starts out with just the drums, and you know, you got a couple guitars, and as the song progresses, you have a solo, you have more instruments that kind of join in and make the song just more brighter, more kind of rockier. There's elements of rock in there, and then you have the numbers, which is just a great way to just kind of end the 3-song run that's on this album. And I think it's beautiful. I think that 3-song run is amazing. You have Glass Eyes, Idiot Tech Kit, and ID Tech. I don't know why I can't fucking pronounce this. ID Tech, and then the numbers. And then you have the last 2 songs on his album that just sound really good within the just the record as a whole. You have Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief, which goddamn, you would have thought Lana Del Rey made that. Lana Del Rey made that fucking track. And then True Love Waits. And I mean, True Love Waits has no need for me to talk it up. I mean, you could just play it, and it's just like a. I mean, the best way I can explain it is like a videotape. It's like if a videotape was just a little bit more emotional. And I think it's a beautiful song. I think True Love Waits is a beautiful, beautiful song. If I were to compare it to anything that they ever released, I would say it's like videotape, but a little bit more depressing. So yeah, at number 4. And now at number 3, we have Kid A. I think Kid A is a beautiful album in what it does. The elements that they have, the fact that it came out after OK Computer, just kind of flipped the switch on everybody. And I mean, there isn't that much I can say that, you know, everyone else hasn't said. I think everything in its right place. It's just such a amazing opener. Just hearing those 4, it's just 15 seconds in, and you hear the chords, you hear, you hear the chords and you hear where it's going, and then Kid A is just kind of like an introduction into like the world that you're about to be brought into. The best way I can explain Kid A would be the album art. I think the album art tells you a lot about the album, and just without even listening to the album, you kind of have an idea of what the album is going to sound like, or at least what you're going to paint a picture in your head of what it might sound like. It's really dark, really spacey, really in limbo-y, really distorted. It just, you look at it and you're like, I really don't know what's gonna go on. And it's an amazing album. I mean, you have the national anthem, which don't even get me started. I mean, the bass line on that. I know when I bought my bass, sounds like one of the first bassings I want to learn. And then you have How to Disappear Completely, which is such a beautiful and really, it's the word soulful. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but really just down. And it's one of Radiohead's most depressing songs, I would say. But even then, I mean, it doesn't kill the album. It adds this kind of it puts it on a pedestal and kind of shows you that, like, even though it's a really depressing song, and granted it is really sad, I mean, the environment looks sad. I mean, you have black here, and the only thing that you really have that could be white would be the mountains, but even then they're all sharp and distorted. And again, Kid A, I can go on for hours and hours. Tree Fingers is really good. Optimistic is also really good. In Limbo's okay. I mean, I don't really enjoy that one as much. Morning Bell, you've heard my thoughts. Motion Picture Soundtrack, and then Idioteke is one of my favorite Radiohead songs. Why? I don't know, but I just love it wouldn't be the drums. Well, I mean, the drums are there, but I think it's the God damn, I am just like brain farting today. It would be it wouldn't be the drums. It would be the kick pedals and everything that get used into it. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. I'm not fucking here today. But yeah, Idiotech is one of my favorite Radiohead songs. I mean, you even have the little meme on it that you know, Tom York warned us of Ice Age, and throw that shit in a fire. But yeah, Radiohead, Kid A, top 3 in my opinion. And then we have at top 2, OK Computer. This is the OK Not OK version, but we're just gonna go with OK Computer, the 1997 version. And I mean, this album is amazing. There isn't anything on this album that I think lacks. There's nothing on this album that I think it needs more of. I think this album is a 10 out of 10. I mean, you have openers like Airbag that follow after Paranoid Android, and then you have Subterranean Homesick Alien. That track run is amazing, and you think it you know, we get a little dull, but then you have Exit Music for a Film, which is such an eerie, such a disturbing and kind of anxiety-induced ending when Tom York's vocals get up and every instrument gets up, and then you have a Letdown, which is a really depressing song, and you think, holy fuck, like, is it over? You know, where am I gonna get a little break? And then you have Karma Police, which is a really, really fun song, kind of talking about label records and just, you know, abusing them and you know, just talking a lot about the music industry. And then you have Fitter or Happier, which is, you know, you get into it and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, I do not know where this is going. And then you got Electricianeering, and it's just another song that just kind of wakes you up. Just from the intro, the guitars that just have a punchy riff into it. You know, no distortion. It kind of sounds like a clean tone with a little distortion, maybe gain, and it wakes your ass up. It's like, we gotta go, we gotta get running, we gotta get on our feet, we gotta get grooving. And then you have songs like Climbing Up the Walls, which again, you were already here and it brings you all the way here. And once it brings you down, it brings you up in the same song. I mean, you have the ending where it just sounds like everything's just destroying around you. It feels like the walls are just kind of falling down. And after you're emotionally drained, you have no surprises, which again is another song where you just feel like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what this is, but I really love it. And then you have Lucky, which, I mean, granted, it's not really my favorite song, but it's still a really good song. And then you end with The Tourist. And I mean, this album, when it came out, it just had a huge impact on the music scene. And I mean, how many years has it been? 1997? Let me see. I'm not gonna do the math. If I can barely pronounce words today, I probably can't even do fucking math. But I mean, many years after, and I mean, it's still an amazing album. I mean, I own this one. I own the original. I own the box set. I just feel like I can't get enough of this album. This album is amazing. I think it's 10 out of 10. But for my number one, which, if you already haven't guessed, we have Radiohead's In Rainbows. If you thought I loved OK Computer, this album, it is what I think is peak Radiohead. If someone had to ask me, what do I think is Radiohead's best album, without hesitation, In Rainbows. I mean, every song on this just sounds like it fits, like it belongs there. Every song, every second, just every melody that you're listening to, it is there. This is what you need. I mean, you open it up with 15 Step, and I mean, just that alone is such an amazing song. You have Body Snatchers, with, again, it's just a really punchy bass, or distorted bass. And then you have Nude, and I mean, that song within itself, Nude, is one of the best songs that Radiohead has ever released and dropped. It's a beautiful ballad. I think listen to it, you just kind of feel like you're in a plane of flowers, and you're floating, and there's water everywhere, and it's warm, and you have just everything at your disposal. And then you have Weird Fishes and RP, oh my god, RPG. And again, just another song that is amazing. You start off with Weird Fishes, and it is just a beautiful, I think, like 2-3 minute track. And then you go into the second part, and it's just kind of like again, it brings you down, but it's not in a sense of bringing you down to feel sad, but just kind of to set up the stage for All I Need. And I mean, All I Need is fucking gorgeous. I don't know if it's a bass, I think, at the end, but just kind of the last like minute and a half of this song really elevates the song a lot. And then you have Faust Arp, and again, not really my favorite song, but even with it not being my favorite song, it's still a good song, and it deserves to be on this album. And that's my biggest praise about the album, is that every song just feels like it deserves to be here for one reason or another. And you have Reckoner, one of Tom York's most beautiful vocal performances. I mean, you have you know, notes that he's hitting on here that he just seems like he's doing it with no effort, and it is a beautiful song. I mean, just the ending of it is just fucking gorgeous. Then you have House of Cards, which again, not isn't anything, you know, out of this world, but it's still a really good song, and it's a palate cleanser to what would be the best 2-song ending run in any Radiohead album. You have Jigsaw falling into place, and I mean, just the beginning minute, you know, it starts off really silent, and then you hear the acoustic guitar, and you're like, okay, what is this? And then you hear the bass and the drums kick in, and it is just like you are grooving. You're up and you're moving. You're up and you're moving. And I mean, throughout the entire track, it just feels like you are running away from something. It's anxiety inducing. It is amazing. It is just, I cannot praise that song enough. It is an amazing song. And then you end the album off with Videotape, which is a complete contrast of what 15 Step is. 15 Step, you know, you open up the album, you start with the album, and it's a really punchy, really groovy, really, to some extent, you can say it's a little cheerful song. And then you end the album with just such a dead. You just feel like it's coming to an end. And I mean, you hear the piano, and that's all it is. You just hear the piano and you hear him sing. And yeah, sure, you can say that they added a couple more instruments at the end, but at the core of the song, it's just him and the piano. And you know, a lot of these songs tackle a lot of depressing things like death and not feeling enough, and you know, a lot of curiosity within yourself, some thoughts that you could have, not feeling like you're ever going to be enough. I mean, Videotape is a song that's just saying, I mean, when I die, this is what I want to be shown. This is my videotape. And I mean, this is a fucking album. I just go on forever. In Rainbows, best album at #1 for sure. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, that was just kind of my little tier list I want to do. I have a video coming out soon. It's gonna be the records I got all in February. I'm gonna wait a week or two just because I know I have one record that I'm really excited to show you guys, or I might do it. It really depends. But yeah, that was my Radiohead tier list. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you agree? Do you rank some lower? Do you rank some higher? Let me know. Are you upset that I put the Benz at like number 6 or 7? Yeah, let me know. And I hope you guys have a nice day. Thank you for tuning in. See ya.